Aetius, before leaving Salvian at Orleans, said to him amicably, "The situation is complicated in these places. The Alans are not as disciplined as the Huns and have many problems with the population. I ask you to discuss your observations and conclusions with me before sending them to Ravenna." Accompanied by the Alan and Roman warriors, Salvian arrives at the siege of Sangiban, young King Alan, on the southern edge of the Loire. It is a villa confiscated from a rich Gallic landlord. Salvian is housed in a small room on the right wing of the villa. The first evening he dines with the king. Sangiban invites him to sit beside him with a jovial smile. "I was born in a van somewhere in Germany and I grew up in Gaul. I like this country. We try to keep the fighting spirit of our warriors in order to respect our obligations on the defense of the empire and the maintenance of the legal order. That is why we strive to respect the way of life of our Caucasian ancestors. We have not even converted to Christianity. Indeed." A woman in a white robe approached the fireplace and nurtured with a prayer the spirit of fire. Always smiling, the king said, "Let us not forget that Romulus's mother was a Vestal. The priest of Vesta, the spirit of fire. She was therefore sworn to remain a virgin. But, according to the Romans, it was Mars, the god of war, himself, who visited him. The audience comes alive. Salvian note, I saw a similar rite among the Huns. Becoming serious, Sangiban confirms, our ancestors were also horsemen of the steppes like them. That is why there are many similarities, particularly with a tribe, Saka, and others who bear similar names. It is thought that we and these tribes would descend from the same ancestors. Now we are talking about very different languages. But there are many Sakas that resemble us. Salvian asks a direct question, what do you think of the friendship between Aetius and Attila? Sangiban looks at him attentively and gives an evasive answer. The Huns defeated our ancestors thanks to their numbers and their discipline. But before, several generations lived, side by side, quite peacefully. Today, they are as strong as ever. But I do not think of great politics because we have only 20,000 warriors. Aetius gave us the pastures in the center of Gaul. From here, at the request of the Roman authorities, we send our cavalry detachments to all parts of the country to fight bandits and against territories that do not respect Roman laws and refuse to pay taxes. In 3 days I will leave with 1,000 warriors towards the Alps Mansels. We will be with the tax collectors of Le Mans city and will try to find an arrangement with the peasants. I protect the lives of my warriors. The Alans follow for a long time the edge of the Loire, then they cross the river near Tours, go towards the north and pass on way by Le Mans. This is not the shortest road. But Sangiban discusses the situation with the garrison commanders of these cities with powerful citadels and analyzes information about the Bigaudis. Then the detachment follows the road from Le Mans to Alençon. The Alans stopped on the banks of the Sarthe and set up camp near a large villa. Ribal, the owner of this villa, invites Sangiban with some officers and the tax collectors of Le Mans to dinner and tells his problems. Our family lives in the vicinity of the insurgents of the Alps Mansels for generations. Thank God, they are not brigands as in some other places. Yet at the beginning, 2 centuries ago it was violent. Our family guard repulsed the attacks of the insurgents with difficulty. Many slaves fled. Then began the time of Seneri. It was the new Druid, who interpreted the Gallic Disputere as the Almighty God. Seneri found a compromise with the Roman authorities, distributed land to the peasants, encouraged young people to create family homes. One day he became a Christian with all his followers. The head of the tax collectors said in a tired voice, "This year the inhabitants of the Alps Mansels refuse again categorically to pay taxes." Ribal is more reassuring. "I hope they will pay you after the negotiations." Of course, they try, once again, to lower their taxes and be fairly firm. Sangiban looks at Salvian and proposes, "Perhaps, should we burn a few hamlets to terrorize them? We have to collect taxes by all means. We have our commissions on taxes collected and are therefore motivated." Alarmed, Ribal replied, "You must not irritate them. They can take revenge after on my family. It is said that the Alans do not use for agriculture the lands attributed to them, as do the Germanic ones. On the south bank of the Loire, the Alans could even practice the winemaking and have the recipes of a peaceful work." Sangiban sincerely rebelled, "May my people of noble horsemen become soiled with fertilizers. And the Alans become stinking like your poor peasants. Never. We actually use only meadows and have turned many fields of wheat into pasture. But we need only armament, harness and proper clothing. Do not worry, you just have to defend a few days. My warriors will come quickly to help you. In addition, the garrisons of Alençon and Le Mans are not far." Ribal sighs. "That is why we continue to live here. Our guard can protect us from the bandits who pass on the roads but is not able to withstand the constant confrontation with the detachments of peasants of the Alps Mansels. Our peasants and settlers also suffer from taxes. Many of them want to settle down among these mountains, but there is no more free land." After 3 days of rest in the villa, the Alans leave for the mountains. Salvian sees no villages. The hamlets are built on the heights and the inhabitants, warned certainly of the operation, are vigilant. Thus, for a few days, the detachment found only empty houses. Suddenly, a small army of 1,000 warriors bars their way on a pass. It is a wall of shields bristling with spears. The Alans make some assaults with warrior shouts but cannot dislodge these peasants. Talks begin. First, it is Sangiban that threatens. The resistance is useless. "I will come with all my army and we will attack your territory on all sides. Everything will be destroyed and burned, even your woods that hide you today." One knew that the Alans do not throw words into the air and can be very fierce. The chief of the Bigaudis, after having also pronounced a few threats, ends by accepting negotiations with the tax collectors. "The population of our mountains is very poor and decreases. We can only pay 2/3 of the money we paid last time and absolutely cannot repay the debts claimed by the tax authorities." The chief tax collector objects. "You have paid nothing in the last 3 years. It's a lot." It is finally decided that the Alans remain camped in the valley and that the peasants provide them with meat and cheese during the negotiations. Sangiban stays with his warriors. The tax collectors, accompanied by 2 Alan officers, and Salvian continue negotiations in the first hamlet behind the pass. Salvian explains to Leonard, a bishop Bigauda, his mission to study the relations between the barbarians and the population. The bishop replies, "We have no barbarians in the mountains, but they are numerous in all the Roman detachments that accompany the tax collectors. The Germanic peasants and Suvis warrior are installed near Le Mans. From Diocletian and the Tetrarchy the expenses for the maintenance of the imperial courts in Rome, Ravenna, Constantinople, Milan, Trier and Nicomedia, and the treatment of the ever-increasing number of civil servants, necessarily entail an increase of taxes and oppression people. Rome lost a third of Gaul due to excessive taxes. Now the authorities count on the Alans. If the establishment of the Alan cavalry on the Loire was accompanied by the reduction of taxes, Rome could eventually re-establish control over almost the whole of Gallic territory. But as this is not the case, our young people are fleeing to less accessible places. The Alans are not numerous enough to control all Gaul.